Good morning, students. In the last class we discussed swapping of two integers using call by reference. In this class let us understand the same program using call by address. Swapping of two integers using call by address. So C++ program to swap, program on swapping of two integers. See, call by address. In this method, we will pass the address of actual argument. To receive the address of actual argument, we have to create a pointers in the function header. Let us start the program. Header files as include iostream.h, conio.h, void main, open flare bracket. Now we need a function. We are going to define sub function. That function has to swap two integers. So I have to write the function prototype here. That function does not return any value, that's why the return type specifier is void. And function name, I'll take name of the function is swap. Here I'm going to pass two arguments. I'm passing two arguments address, so I must write ampersand here. Here also, sorry. So we are passing address of actual argument. To receive the address of actual argument, that function header must contain pointers. How many address you are passing? Two addresses, that is two, because we are swapping two integers, no? So from main function I am passing two integers. So I am not passing the value of integers, I am passing address of two integers. To receive those addresses, there I must create or I must declare pointers, two pointers. So I must write star here. It indicates we have to declare a pointer in the function header. Now int a comma b, cout, enter two integers. Enter two integers. Scene, extraction A, extraction B. Now let us display before swapping. Cout insertion before swapping. Let us display the values of A and B. Cout insertion A is equal to A, insertion \n, cout insertion B is equal to B, \n. Now we have to call function. The function name is swap. Name of the function is swap. You all know how to call a function. Function name, and it is followed by argument list within the parenthesis, then terminated by semicolon. Here we are going to pass the addresses of these two arguments. Whenever you create or when you declare variables, what happens? There is a memory for A and B. These two variables we call it as actual arguments. 500. Let us assume the addresses are 500 and 800. Now we are going to pass the address of these two arguments. The address, to store address of any variable, what do we require? We need a pointer, isn't it? So I have to create a pointer here. Sorry, return type we have to write now. What is the return type specifier? Void is the return type specifier because this function does not return any value to the main function. void, and name of the function is swap, open parenthesis, int star x. I'll take arguments like this, int star y. The address of we have to call function first. Swap ampersand a comma ampersand b. So this is function call. To this function I am passing address of a and address of b. After that, so what we think about this, when you call this function will execute. Further we have to write that function. This function will execute, and in that function the values have been swapped. After that, the swapping values we shall display from this function. Cout after swapping cout insertion a is equal to a backslash n, then b is equal to b, get ch, close. Now we have to define the function. Return type void, name of the function is swap. What are the arguments are coming from main function? These two arguments, address of these two. To store address of a, we have to declare a pointer. What type of variables address I am going to store? Integer. So I have to take integer int star p1, or you can take int star, okay, I'll take p1 here, int star p2, open flower bracket. So p1 holds the address of a and p2 holds the address of b. Now we have to swap the values of a and b using these two pointers p1 and p2. When you declare p1 and p2, what happens? Memory will be allocated like this. 2 byte of memory for p1. It have some address 700 I'll consider, and p2 900. So what is there in p1? Address of a. What is the address of a? 500. 500 will be stored in p1. Then address of b 800. 800 will be stored in p2. Understood? Now we are going to swap values of a and b. What is the alternative for a here? Star p1. So finally I am going to swap the integers. So we use temporary variable here, int t. T is equal to, first I want to store the value of a. Some value, let us assume some value 10. Value of a has to move to temporary variable, but I should not use a here. I have to use p1. How to write? Star p1. Star p1. Okay. Then now I want to store the value of b to a. Let us swap. The previous value will be overwritten by newly this b value. Okay. Now a is equal to b. Instead of a, what should I write here? p1 is equal to b. Instead of b, I must write p2, star p2, because p2 contains the address of b. If I write star p2, it's equivalent to b. Now star p2 is equal to t. So in this way we have to pass the address of actual argument to the formal argument. So this is called by address. Understood? We are calling that function, this swap function, I am calling from main function by passing the address of these two arguments. How does it execute? Let us see the output screen here. Now, this will be displayed on the screen. Enter two integers. Enter two integers. Let us consider the integers are 10 and 20. After that, before swapping will be displayed. Before swapping. Before swapping. A is equal to A. A is equal to 10. What's the value of A? 10. Backslash n is there. Cursor comes to next line. B is equal to 20. After that, the function call is there, swap function. So control move to this function by taking the address of these two arguments. What is the address of A? That address will be stored in P1. Okay, right now what is there? So A is 10 and B is 20. Now P1 contains the address of A and P2 contains the address of B. Now according to this code, temp T, no? This is integer. For this also there is a memory allocation. Let us consider the address is 600. T is equal to star P1. P1 means 500. Star P1 means A, value of A, 10. 10 goes to T. Next, star P1 is equal to star P2. Star P2, you all know the rule. How assignment operator works here. The right part will be assigned to left side variable. Star P2. P2 means 800. Star P2 means B. 20 will be assigned to star P1. Star P1 is nothing but A. Andre iga 20 elli store aitu A ge. Now A becomes 20. The previous value is overwritten by new value. Next, star P2 is equal to T. Star P2 means B. It's equivalent to B. B ge hogbeko. T. What is the value of T now? 10. The 10 goes to P2. Here, B is 10. In this way, these values are swapped in the actual memory itself. Now, after execution of this code, again control come back to the main function to execute next statements. After swapping, so this statement will be displayed on the screen. After swapping, A is equal to A. What is there in the A? 20. A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 10. Understood? So this program illustrates call by address. I hope you understood this program. Okay, next question. C++ program. Write a C++ program. Wait a second. Okay, write a C++ program to access the members of employee. Employee members are like this: employee number, employee name, employee salary, using pointers. Write a C++ program to access members of employee using pointers to object. Members are employee number, employee name and salary. Employee name and salary. Now let us start the program. So first I have to define a class. How to define class you all know. Header files # include iostream.h, # include conio.h. Class, I'll take a name of class is employee, open flat bracket. I'll take these data members in a private section, private colon. So employee number I'll take as integer, int employee number, and employee name it must be string, so I have to take character array, char e name of 20, randomly I'll take size 20, and salary, let us take floating type, float salary. Now to access these members, what is the purpose of accessing these members? Either to input a value or to display the contents of these members. To input the values for these data members, I must take a function here in the public section. I'll take function void get data, open flat bracket, cout, insertion, enter employee number, employee name and salary. Cin extraction, employee number ENO extraction, ename extraction, salary, semicolon, function close. Next, I have to take one more function to display void put data. Name of the function I will take put data. Cout, insertion, employee number. I will display in a tabular format. Insertion \t, then employee name, insertion, salary \t, salary, then \n, cursor has to move next time, function close. Now main function, class close. Let us write the main function here. Void main. To access members of class, we need object, no? Object and dot operator. We discussed this concept in first chapter, class and objects chapter. How to access members of class. Object name and dot operator, then member name. Which member you want to access, that member name. Now I have to create object. How to create object? Class name and object list. I'll take class name employee. I'll take object E1. I'll consider only one object here. Now, in the question, we should not use object to access the members of class. We have to take a pointer to object. So I have to create a pointer. Whenever you create object, what happens? There is a memory for this object. What is the address? I'll consider 700. Then what are the members of this object is ENO, that is employee number, 2 byte. Then employee name, that is 20 bytes of memory. It's a character array. Then float, salary, it's a floating type, so it takes a 4 byte of memory location. So in this way, the data members are related to this object. Okay, that object contains the object memory. The size of object depends on the size of sum of sizes of its data members. Right. Now we have to create a pointer to that object. What type of object we are taking here? Employee, isn't it? So employee type object I have to create, because I am going to store the address of employee type memory location. So I need a pointer that is also employee type. So I can continue here, star P. You all know whatever the type of pointer it takes only 2 bytes, isn't it? So P, 2 byte memory location, though it is an employee type pointer. So the nature of that pointer is it stores the address of employee type memory location. Okay, but it occupies 2 bytes. Now when you write this statement, this thing will be happen here in the RAM. Now we have to assign the address of E1 to P. P is equal to ampersand E1. Now what is the address of E1? 700. 700 will be stored in P. It also having some address. Now using this pointer, I have to access the members of the class. What are the members? Get data, put data, member functions. Usually how to call member function? E dot get data, no? E dot get data. This is a normal way of accessing a member function. But in this question, he has given we have to take a pointer to object. So we have taken pointer to object. Now I have to use this pointer to access a member. How this pointer is equivalent to E1? In what way we have to write here? If I write only P1, sorry P, no? If I write P, what is there in the P? 700 is there. I have to move into this memory location. 700 memory ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ E ಏನು represent ಮಾಡುತ್ತೋ ಆ ತರ ಆಗಬೇಕು. So if I write star P, then it is equivalent to E1. I must write star P dot get data. Okay. In the last class I explained why we should take a parenthesis here. Why? Because if I won't write a parenthesis, first dot will be executed, then star. First in this example, for this pointer, first I have to execute star operator. So I have to write a parenthesis, then parenthesis will execute first, later dot operator. Star P dot get data means star P, which is equivalent to E1. And star and dot operators can be replaced by arrow operator. So we discussed in the pointers and objects, relationship between pointers and objects there. Next I'll write P arrow put data. Before going to display, let us write a heading here, because I have written in a tabular format there. Cout, insertion, employee number, \T, employee name, \T, and salary, \N, semicolon. Now P arrow put data. P arrow put data. It display the content of that memory location, that E1. Okay, so in this way we can access the members of class using pointer to object. Here what is the pointer here? P is the pointer to which object? To the object E1. Understood? Next, write a C++ program to display the student details using this pointer. We discussed this pointer in the last class. Okay, what is this pointer? This pointer, the name of the pointer itself is this. It is a pointer, it is automatically created by the program when objects are created, and it holds the address of current object. Which object is right now working now? That object's address will be stored in this pointer. Let us write the program. Write a C++ program to read and display student details using this pointer. Now let us consider a class student. I'll take data members like this in the private section. Int student number char, student name, then char, or I can take city here, char city. City also string, no? In the public section, we shall take function to access the members, void input. Later I'll write the code here. And one more function we need, void disp. Here also. Now I'll write a main function, void main, open flower bracket. So we have to create object student. I'll take two objects to illustrate this pointer now, S1 and S2. When you create objects, you all know memory will be allocated for S1 and for S2. What is there in S1 and S2? Student number, student name, and city. Student number, student name, and city. Okay. Now, at this moment, the program will create a pointer automatically. That pointer name is called this. This is a pointer name. It is an implicit pointer. It is created by program. Now, let us assume there is a pointer. We won't create this pointer. It is already created by the program. Let us consider the address is 700. What is there in this pointer? It stores the address of current object. Now I will call the function s1.input. Right now, which object is executing? S1 object. What is the address of S1? 800. So 800 will be stored in this pointer. Now how to write the code here? Cout enter student number, student name and city. Which student, S1 student, I already told you in the last class while discussing this pointer, when you call any function, any member function with the object, the values are goes to that object, values are related to that object. How does it happen? ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ಗೆ ಆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಿಸಿಟ್ ಆಗೋ ಬರೀಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಿಸಿಟ್ಲಿ. ನೀವೇ ಇವಾಗ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲಿ. ಸಿ ಔಟ್, ಸಾರಿ, ಸಿ ಇನ್, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. Now I want to move, I want to store the value of S1, sorry, serial number, sorry, student number to S1. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ S1 ಇಂದ S ನಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡಾಟ್, ಇಸಂಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಅಂತ, ಯಾರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಯಾರ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇದೆ, S1 ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ S1ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ನಾವಿದು ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಗೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬರಿತೀವಿ? ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಸಿಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್. ನೋ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್, ಇಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲ್, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡಾಟ್ SNO, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ dot yes name semicolon, cin, extraction, star this dot city semicolon. So in this way we can use this pointer here. Now let us display cout insertion. First I want to display serial student number. Instead of using star and dot operator, I can use arrow operator. So this arrow SNO, okay, then \T. I will display in a tabular format. Cout insertion this arrow yes name. Now next yes name, this arrow yes name, insertion \T semicolon, cout insertion this arrow city \T \n semicolon. So in this function I used star and dot operator, and in the display function I used the alternative for star and dot operator, that is arrow operator. Now S2 dot input, after that cout. Let us write a heading here, student number \T, student name \T and city \n. S1 dot disp, S2 dot disp, get ch, close. Let us see the output. This is an output screen. See here, always execution starts from main function. So when you create object, this will be happen. S1 dot input, which function? Input function. Which object? S1 object. See here, enter student number, student name and city. It will be displayed on the screen. Enter student number. What you have written in the cout statement, it will be displayed as it is. SNO, no? Student number, student name and city. Okay, now scene extraction is there, no? Star this, what is there in the this pointer? 800 is there. 800 whose address? S1 address. Star this means S1. ಎಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಅರ್ಥ? S1 ಡಾಟ್ SNO ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು? S1 ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Let us consider 121 and Ram, city, DVG, Davangere. Okay. Next, after that S2 dot input is there. Now which object is working? S2. Now this pointer contains the address of S2. Instead of 800, it stores 900. When control come to this line, now S2 is the current object. Its value, its address is stored in this pointer. Now star this 900, star this, it's equivalent to S2 dot SNO. Now the values are goes to S2 object. Again enter SNO, name and city. 112 here Raj, Bangalore. Okay. Now after execution, this statement will be displayed. Student number, I'll write here. I'll continue here. Student number, tabular space is there, then S name, after that city. S1 dot disp. Now which is the current working object? S1. Now S1 address will be stored in this pointer 800. Here star this, star 800, S1 objects. S1 dot SNO, isn't it? SNO, yardu iga S1 indu. 1 to 1 will be displayed. Next, same, star this 800, star 800 dot S name. Which one? Ram, then city, DVG. Now, next instruction, S2 dot disp. Okay. What is the address of S2? 900. Now this contains 900. This pointer, it stores the address of S2. Here star this. What is there in this pointer? 900 is there. Star this, star 900, it is equivalent to S2. S2 dot SNO. What is there in the S2 object? 112 Raj and Bangalore. Understood? In this way, we can use this pointer to access the members of a object. Next, write a C++ program to illustrate usage of this pointer in object as function return value. Before going to write the program, let us recall the program we discussed in the class and objects chapter. Addition of two complex numbers. I hope you all remember addition of two complex numbers. See, basically there is no basic data type to store the complex number. So user has to create their own data type. So we had created the data type called complex using keyword class. Okay. And what is the format of complex number? A plus IB or X plus IY. X and Y are real numbers. I is an imaginary, isn't it? Imaginary number. Root minus 1, but we won't write that value. We just mention I as it is. Okay. Now, let us recall that program first so that it will be easy for you to understand how objects are written as a function return value by using this pointer. As include iostream conio.h class complex Directly I'll write the program. I won't give much expression about this because we already discussed in that class and objects chapter. So these two are real and imaginary parts, x and y. In the public section, let us take a function void input, cout, enter real and imaginary part, cin extraction x and y. Now void display. I am going to display now a complex number format. Cout insertion x plus has to display as it is, so I have to write within double quotes plus I and y semicolon. After displaying one number, cursor has to move to next line. So we need one more function to add these two complex number. I'll declare here, and outside the class I am going to define void sum. Right now I'll leave empty parenthesis, later I'll complete this statement. See, total this there are three functions in this class, 3 member functions. Among 3 member functions, I define 2 member functions inside the class definition and one I am going to define outside the class. Return type void. Right now I have taken return type void, later I will change according to the situation. Let us modify void class name. You all know how to define member function outside the class. Return type specifier, class name, scope resolution operator, function name, within parenthesis argument declaration, then open flower bracket, body of the function, close flower bracket. You have to remember this rule, okay? Return type void, class name is complex, scope resolution, function name sum, open close. Let us leave as it is, later we will fill the instructions here. Void main. First we have to read complex number. To read complex number we have function called input function. Complex C1, C2. Okay. C1, it's object now. There is a memory for C1 and also for C2. Let us assume the address is 700 and its address is 800. Now, what is there in the C1 and C2? X and Y are there. To input values for C1, we have to call a function called input function with the help of this object C1 dot input, open close parenthesis, then C2 dot input, semicolon. Next we shall display C1 and C2. C1 dot disp, C2 dot disp. After that, let us call sum function to give sum of these two complex numbers. Sum is a member function, no? You all know member function, accessing member function object and dot operator. So I will call sum function using this object C1 dot sum of C2. I will pass one object as an argument because in order to add two complex numbers, that is C1 and C2, we have taken function called sum. This function requires both objects C1 and C2, and according to the rule, using one object we have to call function C1 dot sum, and that function requires another object also, so I have to pass another object as an argument. You can call like this also, C2 dot sum of C1. From which object you are calling? The rest of the object has become the argument to that function. Okay. Now C2, what type of argument are you passing here? C2. C2 is a complex type. To receive C2, we have to declare a formal argument, complex here. Complex C, I'll take C. When you create complex C, there is a memory for C. C is a complex type now, so it contains X and Y. Next, we shall add these two complex numbers, and I am not displaying these values or the resultant complex number from this function. I am going to return the result to main function. Addition of two complex numbers again will be the complex number. That resultant complex number we shall pass from this function to this function. That result is moving to this function, that is returning, isn't it? This is called object as function return value. First, let us understand what is object as function return value. I already discussed in the class and objects chapter, still I recall that concept. So this function, it returns object to main function. That's why instead of void, I have to write return type specifier is complex. I hope you understood why I am writing complex here. Because that function returns complex type value. Addition of two complex numbers again will be the complex number. That result is returned from this function to this function. That's why the return type specifier is complex. Let us modify here also, complex. So the return type becomes complex here. Next, here parameter is there, no? That is complex type. Here I left empty parenthesis. Let us write the data type here, complex, semicolon. Now the statement is completed. To store the resultant complex number, we need one more complex number in this function definition. Complex R, I will take R as a complex number, that is resultant complex number. R also having X and Y. Now R dot X is equal to X plus C dot X. R dot Y is equal to Y plus C dot Y. Now return R. This is usual method, object as function return value, isn't it? See here, when I call this function using this object C1 dot input, so this input function will be executed. Let us assume the values are like this, 2 and 3. When you call the same function using C2 object, again values are goes to this object. I'll take 5 and 4. Okay, I'll take different value here, 5 and 6. After that, C1 dot display, isn't it? Let us see the output screen here, which is the first statement you'll find on the screen. Enter real and imaginary part. This is for complex number 1. Enter real and imaginary part. So you have to assume this is for first complex number. I'll take 2 and 3. The 2 and 3 is stored in C1. Next, C2 dot input. Enter real and imaginary part. 4, 5. Sorry, I have taken 5, 6. 5, 6. This 5, 6 stored in C2. Next, C1 dot disp. C1 disp function. What is there in the C1? X. 2. X value will be 2. 2 plus I3. Backslash n is there. Cursor comes to next line. Then 5 plus I6. So this is first complex number and it is second complex number. After that C1 dot sum of C2 is there, no? Within parenthesis C2. You have to observe this. C1 dot sum of C2. I'll write here. Here I'll continue. After C2 dot disp, C1 dot sum of C2 semicolon. The sum function is invoking now with the help of this C1 object and C2 as an argument. The values of C2 copied to C. What is there in the C2? 5 and 6. That 5 goes to X value, goes to X, and 6 goes to Y. Now, which object is calling this function? C1 object. So that C1 object's values are obtained automatically in this function. Complex R. Complex R, to store the result, I have taken complex R. So R also a complex number. R dot X, this one, R dot X is equal to X plus C dot X. X means C1X. C dot X means C2 value, that copied C, no? 2 plus 5, 7. R dot 7, this one, sorry, R dot Y. Y plus C dot Y. Y means, simply if I have written Y means it is C1. Which object is calling that function? Whose value that is? What is there in the C1Y? 3. 3 plus C dot Y. C dot Y means 6, C2 value. 3 plus 6, 9. After that, return R. So this value is returning to this function. What type of value is going to be written here? Complex type, isn't it? In order to store complex number, I have to write one more object here. So I have to declare here C3. Understood? C3 is equal to C1 dot sum of C2. So this function, it takes a value result from this function, from this part. Andre ee function ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, add ಮಾಡಿ ಎರಡು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ನ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ನ R ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. R is also ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್. R ಕೂಡ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರೇ. R ನ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಯಾವ ಟೈಪ್ ಡೇಟಾ? ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಡೇಟಾ. To receive complex type data, I have taken complex type argument variable here, C3. So I declared C3 also. So this is normally we discussed. After that, let us display C3 dot display. Now C3 will be displayed. C3 is 7 plus I. Here I'll write some statement. See out sum colon sum colon 7 plus I9. Like this, display the result. See what you have to observe here. I am returning the argument, returning object as a function return value. Instead of writing object name here, I must use this pointer. You all know this pointer, it stores the address of current working object. So instead of writing R, I can write star this here. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಯಾವ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗೋದು ಯಾರು? ಆರ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ರಿಟರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು? ಆರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಆರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಆರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಶೋ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. I hope you understood the programs on call by address and this pointer, then this pointer used in object as function return value. In the next class, let us discuss some more programs on these pointers. Okay, thank you.